Hey, restaurant owner, do you want to control your labor cost? I'm going to share with you 6 steps to writing a schedule to do exactly that. Stay with me. I'm David Scott Peters, restaurant expert, coach, and creator of the Restaurant Prosperity Formula. I've been coaching restaurant owners since 2003, and I'm really glad you're here to learn. Today, I want to share with you 6 steps to writing a schedule to control labor costs. But before I do that, if you like tips and tricks like this, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and oh yeah, that bell so you're notified when my next video tip comes out. And for more tips and tricks for running a profitable restaurant, make sure you tune into my podcast, Restaurant Prosperity Formula, found on all the popular podcasting services. I have a question for you. What is your number one expense in your restaurant? What's the biggest cost? The thing that costs you the most money, what is it? Well, you might have said labor cost, or maybe you said food cost. If you did, well, you'd be wrong. The number one expense in any restaurant is an empty chair. I want you to think about it. You spent all this money on marketing, all the utilities, the employees that came in, the tick, tick, tick clock you're paying, all the food product and alcohol and NA bevs you've brought in. You purchased all the smallwares and flatware and glassware. And it took a Herculean effort and a lot of money. And you've got nobody in that seat with a wallet to pay for those things. So the biggest expense in your restaurant is an empty chair. Make no mistake. Now, I would put labor costs right behind that. Why? If I buy too much food, or if I buy too much liquor, it can sit on the shelf. As long as it's stolen, wasted, spoiled, and I can use it the next day, I can use it the next month, heck, I can use it 3 months from now if it's liquor, right? The fact of the matter is I may have shelved a lot of cash, and I can't pay my bills with it, but the fact of the matter is it's not gone. I can use it later. The problem with labor is the moment it goes tick, you owe. I can't write off time. It tick, 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 you owe, you owe, you owe. So it's so important that we in our management team are focused on controlling our labor cost. Now that we're all on the same page and you understand that you need to use your labor dollars more wisely, here are the 6 steps to writing a schedule to control your labor cost. Step 1 is budget. You must start with a budget. See, what you're going to find as I talk about budgets all the time, I say the 2 most important systems any restaurant should have are budgets and recipe costing cards. Why? Because they're proactive management tools. With a budget, you're going to find that you have a different labor cost by month, higher and lower. In the middle of your crush season where people are coming in, you might run an 18% hourly labor cost. But in the off season, when your sales virtually disappear and your salaried managers are chewing up all your money and you're at minimum staffing levels, 1 server, 1 cook, and a manager, your labor costs are through the roof. So you're going to find a different labor target. And this is incredibly important to make sure we schedule properly. We must have a budget. Step 2, you got to use software. You've got to use scheduling software. In order to do all the things I want you to do, software is critical. So you need to go subscribe and implement scheduling software today because it's going to allow you to track the information I want you to track. Easily create templates and schedule the way you need to communicate with your employees, but more importantly, with that information and the budgeting tools I'm going to talk about, you can then go into the week on budget and control budget on a daily basis. It's critical. Software is a must. Step 3, document. I need you to document, whether in your software or externally, you need to document each team member's critical information, what they can and cannot work, right? Their availability, how many shifts they wish to work, any schedule requests for times that they want off, from vacation to a single day to shifts they wish to work. And I want you to rate them based on their skill sets, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, don't care what it is, so you know who your best people are to those that need development. Step 4, you need to use templates. So remember I talked about that scheduling software? Well, it allows you to go 1 step above the old way to do is creating what I call the staffing guide. I need 3 cooks in the AM, 7 in the PM, whatever day. Well, now it's very specific, a $40,000 week, a $50,000 week, a $150,000 week. You know each position, how many you need of each, what time they come in and what time you're sending them home, creating your ideal schedule, if you will. This allows you for when you are set up properly, you know those weeks that are minimum staffing levels, and you know what are maximum efficiencies, meaning you could have all the money in the world, but my max is putting 8 cooks on the line. This makes it easy that when you share with your management team their responsibility to schedule, you're taking all the knowledge out of your head and putting into a system, a process way that's easily duplicated. Step 5, communicate. You need to give your managers how many dollars, but more importantly, how many hours they have to schedule next week to go into budget. See, we need to stop this schedule like we always do. Here's the downside to software. Copy one schedule to the next week. Done. Well, what if my sales were going to be slightly lower and I'm 14 hours over budget? I wouldn't know that if I don't have a budget. I wouldn't know that if I'm just copying and pasting. So we need to communicate how many hours they have. That way, if last week's schedule was 375 hours in the kitchen, we bring it over, but our budget, because sales are slightly lower, call for 350. That manager now has the ability to start to stagger start and trim small 15-minute, 30-minute increments here and there through a week to get back on budget, to go into the week on budget. That's critical. And finally, step 6, schedule. Got all these things in place. You schedule your busiest days first. So when you're using the templates and you're dragging and dropping employees, you're dragging them in, your best people on your busiest days, and we go backward from there. We're going to avoid clopens, that's close opens, that people close the restaurant, open the next morning, because they're going to be worth shit to you. I call them walking turds. I'm so tired, right? They closed last night, they bitch and moan as they open the next day. And you're going to make sure you're only using the number of hours that were budgeted. Again, going back to budget. That way, you can see before you approve and post a schedule, is it on budget? If not, you can coach your management team to change the schedule to go into the week on budget, proactively scheduling to be on budget instead of bringing people in and sending them home when it's slow. That's too late. By following these 6 steps, I can guarantee you will go into the week on budget versus scheduling and praying you're busy and only cutting when you're bleeding. See, by following these 6 steps, you're putting yourself in a position that you can give up scheduling without giving up your checkbook. Not only the dollars, but to ensure you have the right people on the right shifts and that anybody on your management team can write anybody's schedule. If you're tired of not being able to leave your restaurant because no one else knows how to run it, I want to make sure you know it doesn't have to be that way. You can leave your restaurant. It is possible to build a team of people who know how you want the restaurant to run, with trained and responsible people in place. You can give yourself time away. What would you do if you had time away from your restaurant? Would you sleep better? Would your relationships improve? Would you feel more relaxed? These are all things you deserve to experience as a business owner. It's why we own our own businesses. If you would like to learn how to own a restaurant that doesn't depend on you to be successful, click the link in the description to watch a free video to learn exactly what you have to do. Also, be sure to subscribe to get my weekly tips and watch these 2 videos to get more information and guidance for running a successful restaurant.